First of all, let me just introduce the show. You're listening or watching the Football Weekly podcast. I'm your host, Reginald Dino. We spoke last week as well. We were talking about how Brighton was going to be a difficult game for Arsenal, and it turns out it was more than difficult. Um, Brighton was able to beat Arsenal 3-0 at the Emirates. If you didn't watch that game, and I told you last week, De Zerbi was going to have a plan, and Brighton is a fantastic watch, and they were head and shoulders better than Arsenal that day, and the scoreline does not flatter them. They were maybe 4 or 5 goals better than Arsenal last week. So that loss cemented what didn't cement. There was a mathematical chance that Arsenal could still win the league, but with Man City having 2 games in hand and the team that they have, they would have to lose all their games in order for us, and we would have to win all our games, Arsenal, to win the league. And I mean, that was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. So even if the fact that Man City, I think, was on an 11-game winning streak or something like that, even if they did lose, we would have to win all our games. And I'm just coming off the back of watching Arsenal play Nottingham Forest and losing 1-0. So Manchester City has been crowned champions again today, not even kicking a ball. They have been crowned champions with Arsenal's loss today. The only good thing today for me is that Nottingham Forest doesn't get relegated. I like to see teams that work hard and have the odds stacked against them come through in the end. So yeah, Nottingham Forest stays up. I would love to see Everton get relegated. That's no secret on this show. I hate Everton. It's not a rival for us. It's not a Tottenham. It's not a United. It's not a Liverpool. Everton players are scummy to me. Scummy. So for them to get relegated, I would love it. I would love it if they get relegated. To quote Kenny, quote. Oh my God, what's his name? Not Kenny Dalglish. Oh my God, Kevin Keegan. I would love it. I would love it. So, oh my God, lots to talk about. Lots to talk about. We got Champions League finalists set. Europa semifinals are set. Transfer windows. Teams have now figured out where they're going to finish in the league, and transfer plans are now being set into motion. So we have a couple of rumors. We got to talk about that. I know people in my own personal life always asking me about City and why the hate for Pep and all that stuff. And even after last week's show, if you haven't listened to last week's show, have a listen to it. It's the one before this. I think it's called Dutch Masters. I don't rip Pep. I don't rip him as a person, but I rip the mentality of some of these fans that claim that Pep Guardiola has done something he has invented something new in football, or he's the messiah of football, and he's not even close. Not even close. He's a copycat. It's a fraud. I've said it last week. I explained everything last week. If you haven't listened to that show, listen to that. So I mean, I don't want to win a championship the way that Arsenal could win it. If there's no other alternative and they have to give us the championship for this year because of the cheating scandals and cheating allegations against Man City, if they get stripped of all their championships from 2009, and this is one of them, I mean, of course you have to take it. I don't want it like that. Of course I don't want it like that. I want FIFA, UEFA, EPL, whoever it is, to nip it in the bud now, just like Serie A did with Juventus, taking the points away from them now, giving it right back to them. Again, I don't get it, but we spoke about that last week, so I'm not going to get back into it. But again, there's 100 charges laid against Manchester City from 2009 till now. Falsely recording players' salaries and managers' salaries, and you know, failing to cooperate with an EPL investigation. And you can't tell me that Pep Guardiola didn't have any idea about any of that. So again, not going to get into that again. I've said my piece about these guys last week. If that's the way you like to win, buying championships and skirting the rules and it's cheating. It's cheating. I can say it. It's cheating. It's not, and again, not sour grapes. Believe me, it's not sour grapes. That team is fantastic. They're better than us. They're better than us. I mean, Arsenal. They're better than everybody. But it's the way they get there. Okay. So I'm not Pep Guardiola's biggest fan. There's other reasons why. Again, if you want to know those reasons, there's previous shows where I've laid all that out. I'm not going to rehash, but not my favorite person. Have people put this man on a pedestal is it's crazy to me. But again, they've won the last, I think it's 4 and 5 years they've won as champions. Another store bought earned championship by Manchester City. There's not much you can say, but congratulations, well done. There you go. Money. Sometimes money does buy happiness, I guess. So there you go. To keep on the Manchester City vibe, they were able to dispatch Real Madrid in the second leg of the Champions League semifinals. I think last Tuesday or Wednesday, where they beat Real Madrid 4-0, winning that aggregate by 5-1. There's rumors now that Ancelotti's coaching career is on the line at Real Madrid, which is absolutely crazy if you ask me. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think Ancelotti's last job should be with Real Madrid unless he tries to go to take over a national team. Maybe he takes over the Italian national team. He takes over the Canadian men's national team. Who knows? But the fact that Real Madrid rumors coming out of Madrid and Spain is that Ancelotti might be on a chopping block for the way that they went out in the semifinals of the Champions League. Seems crazy to me. Second, well behind Barcelona in La Liga. Doesn't look like any trophies this season. I'm not sure who won Copa del Rey or anything like that. So if they won that, I apologize to Real Madrid fans out there. But I mean, I would get, if I was Real Madrid, 1, if not 2 more seasons left. If they still, on the same trajectory as they were this year with winning nothing, then yeah, okay, then a change probably needs to be made. But based off his track record and his trophies and his winning ways, I think he deserves another 1-2 seasons to prove that maybe this season was a fluke. Maybe it was. We're so quick to dismiss managers. If you look at Chelsea, so quick to dismiss managers. If you look at Tottenham, so quick to dismiss managers before they have a chance to. And I'm not saying Conte, the dismissal was quick. I think Conte wanted to leave, didn't want to quit though, wanted to get fired. So that's when he went on in his rant and just ripped the players, he ripped management, he ripped everybody with the club, and there was no way he could stay on. That was his way of getting out. But yeah, I think at Real Madrid, Ancelotti has actually earned himself a little bit of rope, a little bit of time to right that ship. Europa League. There's going to be an Italian team. There's an Italian team. Oh, I should tell you what the final is, actually. Go back to Champions League and let you know. Real Madrid did lose to Manchester City on aggregate in the semifinals, 5-1. So they're in the final. On the other side, Inter Milan was playing AC Milan. And they were able to fashion a 1-0 win, I believe. So they won that 3-0. over aggregate. So we have Inter Milan and Manchester City in the finals of Champions League. I believe it's June 20. It's not in June. It should be in May. May 25th, maybe. Check. I think it's May. It's hilarious. The app that I use, um, to check all my scores. It's not the score, believe it or not. In Toronto, it's not score. But they when a competition's not being played, they have the champions. So if for example, I have my NFL here. They say offseason champions, Kansas City. They won the Super Bowl. Champions League, offseason champion. They have Manchester City already. They have Manchester City already labeled as the champion. It's crazy. It's Saturday, June 10th, actually. Actually, it's later than usual. I guess because of the World Cup, it's later. Yeah, so they have La Liga champion, they have Barcelona, they've written all the names beside each league champion. They already have Manchester City as a champion of the Champions League final, which is over a little under a month away. So stranger things have happened. You know, for some of you guys out there, Pep Guardiola will cement his legacy within football royalty if he wins a championship at Manchester or a Champions League at Manchester City. Me personally, I don't want to see it, but not because I don't want Pep Guardiola to win a Champions League. It's just the narrative of all the Pep lovers out there. It's going to be unbearable. It's going to be unbearable for me. So that's one of the reasons why I don't want Manchester City to win a Champions League. I mean, it's unbearable now. It's unbearable now. Just imagine if he gets that Champions League. For some, the Champions League, winning a Champions League doesn't matter. His legacy is still the best manager ever to be a manager. So if and Champions League doesn't matter. So imagine if he did win a Champions League, that would be the only thing that matters. But he won a Champions League at Manchester City, who never won it before. So he's the greatest of all time to do that. Gross. It's gross. It's gross. My name for him from now on, the name for him, and it's been like this forever. I've been very polite, but it's Pep Fradiola. And from here on now, it's gonna be Pep Fradiola. And we'll keep it like that. But we'll go back into Europa League. Europa League has two Italian teams in it as well. So there could be an all Italian final in Europa League, and we already know there's an Italian team in the final of Champions League. And there was two Italian teams in semifinals of the Champions League. So I know I know we look at the Italian league as something inferior, not as good as an EPL. But I mean, yeah, 4 teams in the semifinals of both European championships. It's a telling statistic, definitely. Juventus playing Sevilla. Sevilla was at home during the week on Thursday and were able to get away with a 2-1 win, even though they had a red card in that game. And listen to me, if Juventus is willing to sell Dusan Vlahovic, listen, Arsenal should be the first team in line for that guy. If the rumors coming out of Italy are true that they're looking to move him, Arsenal should be first in line to pick up that guy. That's a striker I want to see at Arsenal. He would score 20 to 25 goals at Arsenal. We would be able to serve balls in from the wings to him because he, crosses. Oh, we can't cross now because all our strikers are 5'11", so we don't win any head balls in the box. We have to rely on our quickness of the movement of the ball on the ground. But if we were able, if Juventus is willing to let him go and he's willing to come to Arsenal, that's no brainer. Snap that up, sign that guy before you even talk to Declan Rice. That's a guy that we need. We need a striker like that. The the lure of Champions League being, we're in Champions League. We finished second behind the quote unquote greatest English team ever to play soccer with the greatest manager, whatever it is. We were able to finish second behind them, and we had them at an 8-point disadvantage at one point in the league as well. So, I mean, all of those things should be attractive to players that don't want to join a team that they couldn't beat. If you can't beat them, join them. That type of mentality, that Kevin Durant type of mentality. If you want to join a team that's fighting the establishment, Arsenal should be the best look for you guys. It should be the best choice for you if you're a player of that mentality. If you're not Jack Grealish. I don't blame Jack Grealish because City paid $100 million for a $30 million player. So, of course, Villa is going to sell him to wherever is going to pay that because that's ridiculous. But Dusan Vlahovic, come on down. You're the next contestant. So I would love to have him on my team. He got the goal against Sevilla in the Europa League semifinals there. So that one is 2-1, coming back to the Allianz Arena in Italy. So both Italian teams were away from home. So they are coming back to their home patch to play. The second game, Bayern Leverkusen against Roma. Jose Mourinho's Roma. Fashion is 0-0 away from home. I didn't watch the game, but 0-0 away from home in a semifinal of a Europa League, I say that's a Mourinho masterclass. Not sure, just by looking at the score and who was involved, I'm pretty sure it was a Mourinho masterclass. Now you're going to come home to the to Rome, and you're going to get a 1-0 win, and you're going to move on to the semifinals of the Europa League against either Juventus or the team whose tournament it really is. It's Sevilla. When Unai Emery was coaching there, how many was it? 3 and 4 years or something like that? It was crazy amount of wins. It's Sevilla's tournament. They have their name, I think, the most times on that trophy. So it should be very interesting to watch. Definitely interesting to watch. Last week I spoke to you guys about the MLS moving their games to MLS Seasons Pass. The only way to watch it is to get Seasons Pass through Apple TV. I told you I watch TV a different way. I was able to find games to watch. Actually, I watched who did they play last week? Awful. Who they play? Oh, Montreal. Montreal away from home at Saputo Stadium in Montreal. Awful. TFC's awful. Okay. I watched them play on Wednesday night as well. They were here in Toronto against New York Red Bull. Now you can sit there and tell me, oh my God, Bradley's injured. Bradley being injured doesn't hinder this team. It shouldn't be playing anyway. But maybe you're missing a story. Okay, no problem. But I mean, the two designated players are awful. Awful. I don't know if it's the pitch. The pitch looked terrible at BMO. Terrible. And I know we're still in May. It's not really warm here yet. Maybe the grass hasn't had time to breathe or live. So it looks choppy. It looks slow. But beyond the pitch, the touches of these two guys, I shouldn't even say the two guys. The only player that's really playing well is Richie Larea. And he's on loan from Nottingham Forest. And I think that loan comes to an end in a couple of weeks. So if he has to go back to Nottingham Forest, or Nottingham Forest doesn't allow TFC to extend that loan, this team's done. I don't even remember the last time they won a game, in all honesty. Let's look up how many wins they have, because I don't even remember when they won a game. They've won a game. Every game that I've seen, they've lost, and I think the first draw that I've watched was just the last game on Wednesday. They play again tonight in Texas, I believe, in Austin, Texas, at 8:30. So I'll see if I can stomach watching that tonight. But where are they here? Yeah, the last place, of course. They have 2 wins. Who the hell did they beat? 2 wins, seven draws, and 4 losses. I don't know who they beat, but actually, let's check. Haven't won in May yet. Beat New York City in April and beat Miami in March. So they're averaging a win a month is what they're averaging right now. 7 draws. I mean, and they're in last place in the East with probably the highest payroll. So pulling a Chelsea, not all the best players don't often make the best teams. Paying the most amount of money doesn't guarantee you anything unless you're a certain Spanish manager with unlimited resources to buy anybody you want and get away with breaking every rule that you want. Anyways, keep going back to these guys. I don't know. So we'll see. I know Osario's injured. That's probably a big miss for TFC. But I mean, with what we have in the forward line, with what we were build with what we have in the forward line, we shouldn't be missing Osario as much as the results dictate or indicate. It's not just Osorio missing that these guys are losing, or Bradley missing that these guys are losing. It's awful football, awful to watch. Now that I can watch it, I'm probably gonna watch it tonight, and we can discuss it next show if I have the stomach to, or not. But I'm leaning towards not. So, um, transfer rumors. We're getting to that time of the season where the summers are rolling out. Arsenal has just re-signed Aaron Ramsdale again. They've extended his contract to 2028, I believe. He signed a 4-year extension just this past week. We're still waiting on Bukayo Saka's re-signing. From all what you hear from people in the know, that it's already been done. They're just waiting for a time to announce it. William Saliba is also, we're trying to lock down William Saliba as well. His contract comes to an end, I think, after this season. So we're trying to lock him down. But again, you listen to the people in the know, that's close to being done as well. And those are players that you can't lose. If one of Saka or Saliba don't re-sign with Arsenal, no words. I have no words. There's going to be hell to pay from the fans towards Edu and Arteta. Um, One deal that's surprising, because we all thought this player was going to come to England, is Jude Bellingham, the 19-year-old from Borussia Dortmund. We thought if he was going to go anywhere, it would have been, who can pay $150 million for this player? There's only 3 teams in EPL that can do it. City, United, and maybe Liverpool. But I thought for sure he was going to come to England to play. But it seems like his dream was to play at Real Madrid. So he'll be joining. Maybe Cruz leaves, or Tony Cruz has a little bit of a limited role next season when it comes to playing. But he's going to join that midfield. So imagine Modric, a Camavinga, and a Bellingham midfield in Spain. Not bad at all. That's not bad at all. So Ancelotti's going to have a better midfield, and it seems like there's midfielders needed for every single team out there. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like midfielders are going to be a premium this year. The midfielder for some reason everyone's crying over or chomping at the bit to get is Declan Rice here in England. He's been linked to Bayern Munich. He's been linked to Arsenal. He's been linked to City. He's been linked to United. He's been linked to Liverpool. And we're talking 100 million. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a great player. He does the exact same thing Thomas Partey can do, and he was 45. If Thomas Partey was English, he would have been 110. So he's young and he's English for sure. I don't think he's rated that highly outside of England, but it doesn't matter. You're buying him within England, so you have to pay the going rate, I guess, for an English player. We talked about the English tax, and it's for real. It's not small either. The tax, it's not small. It's probably 60 million on top of his real value. So um, that's the guy everyone's trying to get. He would look. I mean, if you're going to replace Xhaka, which Xhaka looks like he seems to be 1 foot out the door, going back to it's either Bayern Leverkusen or Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think one of those two teams. I can't remember which one, but I think it is Leverkusen that he is linked with. If that does happen, and Xhaka is a guy that does leave Arsenal at the end of the season, you need a box-to-box midfielder. Now, if you're going to switch Thomas Partey to play box-to-box and let Declan Rice sweep up in front of the sweepers, then that's different. If that's what you want. But I mean, $100 million for that, I don't know. Moises Caicedo from Brighton, who we played last week, and he played right back last week because I believe their right back was injured, and he was fantastic at right back as well. Uh, um, Manchester United are linked with him, as well as Arsenal, of course. But you're looking at 70, 80, 90 million for that guy. I think a Caicedo, with what we have right now, is a better fit than Declan Rice. That's what I think. But again, there's certain outlets out there, newspapers and pundits out there that say they're going to get them both. Arsenal's going to get them both. I think we need a striker more than we need two midfielders. Now, if they are able to get them both, and the midfield is sorted for the next 6-7 seasons, because I think Caicedo is 21 or 22, and Declan Rice is 22 or 23. That's sorted for 7-8 seasons if they're able to keep them, and they progress in Champions Leagues, and they're at the top winning leagues, and the players want to stay. Then yeah, that midfield sorted for that amount of time with Odegaard, who's only 24, I believe. I mean, they're going to be playing together forever. But I mean, I think Arsenal's needs a right back. I think they need a striker. I think they need, if Xhaka's leaving at 30 years old, 31 years old, I think next season, then yeah, you need one of those two guys, and I would take Caicedo over Declan Rice. But I don't make the decisions here. I don't make the decision. So there's going to be a lot of and I was saying about the midfielders, like Liverpool needs to revamp their midfield, Chelsea needs to revamp their midfield, Arsenal needs to revamp, United needs to revamp. All these teams need to revamp their midfield. So I mean, you're going into the transfer window, and you're fighting against Manchester City, who has they have pockets deeper than the oceans. So I mean, they can outbid you for anybody. So you're finding the player. You're seeing, okay, can we get $100 million together to fight to sign Declan Rice, and then United will come in with $120 million offer, and it's just like, well, okay, we're done here. So hopefully they can get business done early. I'm talking about the Arsenal, or most teams can get business done early. Again, there are sanctions held over Manchester City's head, 115 charges against them. So, I mean, it might not be an attractive place to go, because who as soon as those sanctions hit, who the first rat's going to be out of the door, out of that place. So, and for some reason, this investigation is not going to be. You're not going to hear about the results of this investigation until 2027. They said. Like they're not gonna be able to give you a verdict on Manchester City's cheating that everybody knows is happening until 2027. I don't know why it's taking so long. I don't know why it's going to take an extra 4 years to find out what's going on here. But anyways, with the standings the way they are right now, and I think it's done. I think United and Newcastle both needed a point, I believe, to secure Champions League spots. And I think United won today. And I think Newcastle plays tomorrow, or did they play today? I don't even know. I didn't even know Arsenal was playing today. I thought the game was tomorrow. I looked at my phone and I was like, "Yo, Arsenal game starts in half an hour." And today? Um, and that's the mentality when your team's out of the title race already. Done. You're already locked up second place. No one can catch you there. You can't catch first. You're in Champions League. What do these games really mean? I watched it to see hopefully maybe, Fabio Vieira or Emil Smith Rowe get some time and we can see what we have in those young players. But of course, Arteta didn't play Emil Smith Rowe. Shocking. So next game should be interesting. It's a game at home. It should be very interesting to see who he picks. We're gonna be whether we win, lose by 100 goals, score 100 goals. We're gonna be in the exact same spot we are in right now, which is fantastic if you ask me. Again, people still, oh, you bought all the league. It's fine. You can think that, but everybody out there thought these guys were gonna finish seventh, eighth. No chance. No chance of Champions League. They finished second. It's a fantastic season for people that for Arsenal fans or for Arsenal haters that say it's not. Where's your squad? Again, like I mentioned last week. If you haven't listened to last week's show, go and listen to that. I think I put the haters in their place. Um, so that with the table being what the table is, I believe Liverpool is now guaranteed a Europa spot, so they'll be in the Europa League next year. It's funny. We used to have a staunch Liverpool fan on this show who would make fun of Arsenal for being in the Europa League Thursday nights. No one watches football on Thursday nights. So now that his squad is in Europa League, watch how difficult this tournament's going to be now. It's one of the hardest trophies to win. It's not a pushover, but 2, 3, 4 seasons ago, champion, it's a Europa League. Who cares? Who cares? It's so easy to win. Like these teams in Europa League are terrible. Blah 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 blah. So we'll see what the narrative is when he's watching his squad on Thursday nights because nobody plays football on Thursday. Nobody good plays the football on Thursday. Sorry, nobody worth watching plays football on Thursdays. Was the exact quote. So we'll see. Finally, we're going to end off with an Arsenal player that's made some news, an Arsenal loan player that made some news this past week. Florian Balogun, striker on loan. We spoke about him last week as well. Striker on loan in the French league and Liga, leading close to the top, if not at the top of goal scorers in Liga, with the likes of Messi and Neymar and Mbappe and this guy and that guy and that guy and this guy. I guess he didn't switch allegiance. He was never picked by Gareth Southgate to be an English on the English men's national team, senior men's national team. He's played numerous times for the under 21s, I believe. But Florian Balogun has committed his future, his international future, to the United States of America. So he is going to be, well, he should be the starting striker of the Canadian men's, I wish, the United States men's national team. He should be the starting striker there. That is a huge get for them. He was born in New York. Family moved, I guess, to England when he was quite young. He's been in the England setup ever since then, but never got the call to represent the senior men's national team in England, which was not even as a substitute. So he's looking at his career. He's in the greatest form of his life right now. He's looking at his career and saying, "Well, I want to be an international. How do I do this?" So United States, I mean, the pitch that United States probably gave him is exactly as you imagined it. Listen, you're going to play every single game for us. Start every game. You're probably going to play 90 minutes in every single game. We make the World Cup every year. We play in internationals, play Nations League. We do it all. So, I mean, for you not to come is crazy. And I'm pretty sure that's the pitch. And I don't blame him for going. He's never going to get a look at, and as long as Southgate's there, he's never going to get a look. I mean, you do have guys in front of you. Granted, Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, but when Phil Foden's getting picked in front of you, and Calvin Phillips got picked ahead of you, he played 40 minutes in the EPL and got picked ahead of you while you're scoring goals left, right, and center in France on loan. I don't know. Maybe you don't have a shot. Gareth Southgate has ruined many international careers. I shouldn't say that. I take that back. He has ruined some international careers. There's the center back out of AC Milan, Tomori. He could play for Canada. He could play for England. He was thinking about, well, actually, I shouldn't say he was thinking about. Canadian outlets were saying, yeah, that's a guy that we could use as a center back going into the World Cup. This is before Qatar. And what did Southgate do? He called him into the team. And I think he played him for. Oh, I can't remember what he did, but I think he played him for like 3 minutes. So now, you know what? I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna find out what happened exactly, and I'll report it next week because I can't. I know he chose him for the team, but I don't know if he played or not. But I don't know if picking him and taking him for friendly ties him for three. I think it's 3 years you have to wait before you can even look at switching allegiances or switching international. I have to find out what the rule is. So don't quote me on that, but I'll find out for you. I'll find out what I was trying to say next week and relay it back. So I mean, that's pretty much the week in football for me. I mean, there's lots of things that are going on. We're at the tail end of the season now. There's still jostling for Champions League spots still going on in other leagues. The transfer window, the transfer rumor mill is starting to generate. So you're going to be hearing a lot more about players switching and players going here and players going there. We'll also recap all of the transfer stuff that's going on. If not just having a transfer show, England's already done. I believe Italy's done as far as champions being crowned, Napoli and Manchester City respectively. I believe Germany's done as well. Bayern Munich won. I have to check Ligue 1, and Barcelona won La Liga as well. So champions are starting to be crowned. I think PSG isn't safe to say that they're probably the champ. I think I'd have to check for you guys to come back to you, but yeah, I mean that's the week in football that I've seen. Again, if you're watching this right now, you already know we have a YouTube channel, Football Weekly Podcast. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's free. It helps grow the channel. It lets me know people are out there watching, and you can also leave comments below the video as well. If you think that my Pep Guardiola comments are way off, let me know. If you don't follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, somewhere else, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, I believe are the only things we're on. And YouTube. If you're not subscribed to those, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. If you're listening to this, if you subscribe and you're listening to this, we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Player FM. We're on Apple Music. We're on Amazon Music. Ask Alexa to play Football Weekly Podcast. You'll hear my voice. We're on every podcast platform you use to download podcasts. So it shouldn't be very difficult to find us. So guys, as usual, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week.